Okay, Akasan here with your very special feature for Japan Thursdays, a new feature I'm featuring on this channel. That's right, we have Mondays, we're going to be doing Game of Thrones or Walking Dead. Tuesdays is Ruby Tuesdays. Wednesday is The Flash and the weekly Wednesday What's Up. And Thursday here is something new I like to call Japan Thursdays, where we're going to be talking about anything and everything revolving Japan. It's what you wanted to see and hear. And then on Friday, we're going to be doing some things with Korean, sexy women, you know, all that stuff. So, I got a friend here that has a question, and we were kind of talking about it on Facebook a little while ago, and I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about this on Japan Thursdays. So, it is my honor to go ahead and introduce to you the man from Kumamoto. Tino, everybody. Tino.
Hey, how you guys doing? Happy Thursday. Maybe wherever you guys are, if you guys are in the good old US of A, it's Wednesday there. Yeah, so you know, yeah, just continue what we were talking about on Facebook, you know?
Yeah, so I guess the topic here is going to be virtual Japan or your Japan versus the real Japan. And we're going to kind of try to break that down for everybody because the real Japan is susceptible. It's susceptible to what you believe in and what you're experiencing. And that's kind of where it happened. And to kind of paraphrase what you were saying, Tino, why don't you kind of paraphrase what you were kind of stating on Facebook and before I jump in?
I gave that mini rant, I'll call it, was basically because, you know, a lot of people, they have this misconception about people who live in Japan because of the people who post videos about Japan. I think, you know, they think life here is this and that, and it's all anime and this and that, and even people who haven't even been here yet, they have this idea that everyone in Japan loves anime. Everyone in Japan, they know the characters of every freaking anime series that is out there, and they just adore these characters, and Godzilla's real, and you know, and you know, I mean, it's like this commercialized Japan that you see on the internet or on TV. I mean, and it goes to just a lot of stuff that they post on the internet that young people are exposed to. They have this idea in their head that this is what life in Japan is like. I mean, people even watch my videos and see where I live and what I do and what I have and say, damn, I want to come out there and I want to have a life just like you. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea how long it took me to get where I'm at right now.
And you know, on top of that, it gets me because I get those comments all the time where it's the one that kind of annoys me sometimes, but I know it's just kind of like a envious, ignorant comment is the one where it's always just, you're so lucky to live in Japan. I'm like, yo, luck had nothing to do with it. Like, if anything, it was very I ran across many unlucky attempts to get where I'm at right now. So, and I just had to push through. So.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you know what? Geography has nothing to do with it. You are who you are wherever you are. You know, it has nothing to do with where you are. I mean, you were mentioning your friend who lives in China.
Yeah.
And
my man Chi. Yeah.
And he's doing very, very well for himself. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? The person that I am, I could go to Africa and basically get the same thing that I have right now because I am who I am. And geography has nothing to do with it, you know. Right. I know I know to assert myself. I know how to hustle. I know to do what's necessary to take care of me and my family.
Right. It's really how you, like you said, assert yourself, but it's really how you see the situations and you take advantage of the situations. Both of us are in some form or fashion have been some type of English teacher throughout the years. But if English teaching wasn't the opportunity here in Japan, we'd be doing something else. So it all depends of how that is. But getting back on a point here, so virtual reality versus the real Japan, there's this great image, this great comic that I laugh at all the time, which shows two guys talking, and the one guy is like, "Wow, you live in Japan?" And he has this speech bubble, this dream bubble of like anime, just like you said, all the anime, Godzilla, maid cafes, all this like robots, everything going on, and then the guy replies back, and he's like, "Yep." And then in his speech bubble is a crowded train, drunken salarymen, ramen, instant ramen, all this stuff like that we know, and it hit me so hard. But I guess the question here is for you, because the sort of debate we got involved with on Facebook was the realist subjective, and in my mind, I know where they're coming from, where people think that everything is all about anime and manga, and in some sense that actually is true. That is true. Like if you decide to live that life, you can. And yes, everything is about anime and manga, because I have lived in Akihabara, not by choice, but when I moved from Fukuoka to just find a place. The only place that was available for me to stay with was at one of my friends' places in Akihabara. So I have lived that Akihabara life. So I have seen people live an everyday anime life if they choose to. Like people do drive around with tricked out anime cars and tricked out drifting anime cars. They have huge expos about that. So that can be your life, but at the same time,
that's a Sunday afternoon, though, bro.
A what?
That's a Sunday afternoon right there. I mean, you're not gonna see that 24/7. You have to go to a specific place to see something like that on a Sunday afternoon, though. You know? Yes.
Okay. I'll give you credit for that one. It's a subcultural part of Japan. So what is for you? Because you and I have both lived on the same in the same prefecture for quite some time. I lived in Fukuoka for, goddamn, 4 years. So I lived in the as inaka as it can get, as a country as it can get, and I've also seen like the in between city life / slow city life that it was Hakata and Nakatsuka-Wabata, and worked in Momochihama, which was the richest area in Kyushu. So I've seen different lifestyles of Japan, but I guess for you, living in Kumamoto, which for those of you don't know, is I wouldn't say it's fully inaka. I wouldn't say it's fully countryside.
It's basically Japan's Silicon Valley. That's what Kumamoto is just rich in culture. Historical areas are just abundant. We have so many places that you can see here that are still intact, that were just very, very important.
Why would you call it the Silicon Valley though? Because my image of the Silicon Valley is like that's where tech is made, and
we got Sony, bro. We got Sony, we got Honda, we got Tokyo Electron, we got Mitsubishi, we got all of those companies right here in Kumamoto.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So, what is the real Japan to you then?
The real Japan to me is basically coming out here and being Japanese. It's something that I won't ever be able to do. It's something that you won't be able to do either. Okay, but us as representatives of the good old USA, we have an obligation. Okay, we have an obligation to get to know what it is that makes the Japanese people Japanese.
Right.
And that is, oh my God, that is just profound. If you really, really, truly want to understand what Japanese people are all about, I mean, it's a marvelous trip, But at the same time, we have the obligation to represent our people, okay, whether it be African American, whether it be Mexican American, it doesn't really matter. Just because of the simple fact that we call ourselves American, okay, there's a lot of responsibility to that, and we're representing the whole nation of people, and we have to do that accordingly. And what it is to live here in Japan is to understand that we are representatives all the time.
Ambassadors.
We have people watching us all the time. Everything that I do, whether it be good or bad, is going to affect the dude who comes behind me, if he's from America. And that is something that I've never felt before. I never felt that when I was back home. I'm from LA. You are too. We're both from LA. But it's like I never had it was never necessary for me to claim American because we were all.
But for me, as mostly black, as a mostly black man, but living basically representing the black culture, that's something that black people, most black people feel, or I should say most responsible black people feel every day of their life, especially black men within the workplace, is like, no matter what they do, they're always...
We have that same responsibility. That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
Okay, so you're right, but what you're saying, like, I get what you're saying, is that now we're not just representing what black people our nationality is all about. We're representing our nation, where we're from, and being a foreigner, basically. So yeah, and that's true.
That's what it is. That's what it is to be out here. And you know what? I got to be honest with you, man. I can't see myself going back. You know, I'm gonna freaking die here. You know.
Okay.
But I built a house. I got a life for myself here. I'm fucking 50 years old. What am I going to go back and start over again? Okay, real estate. That's probably what I'll probably go into. But I enjoy what I do here. You know, it's not about the money. It's about the lifestyle that I have, the responsibility that I have here. That I can't do that. I won't be able to do this if I go back home.
So what is your, I guess, so people can have a better clarification, opposed to everything they see on the internet and everything, what is your lifestyle in Japan, being 50 years old, a foreigner, living in, how long have you been in Japan now?
I've been here half my life, man. I've been here for 25 years.
And so 25 years of living in Japan, this isn't no vacation anymore. What is the real Japan for you? You know, I know what you're saying, but it's hard for me to explain it from your perspective. But like, what's the real Japan for you?
Is to basically help the people that I come in contact with.
Yeah, right.
I'm changing lives out here. And I was at Starbucks a couple of months ago, and you know, there was this Porsche parked right next to my FJ. And this dude, he had this white sweater on, white scarf, and he's sitting in Starbucks. And I'm sitting there, I'm talking to my son, and I'm talking to him in English. I said, "Do you want a cookie?" He said, "No." I said, "You don't want a cookie? You sure? Because you know what? I'm getting a cookie." So we're talking about a cookie. And so he overhears our conversation about this cookie. And then so he says, "Hi, may I speak to you for a minute?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "How you doing?" He said, Good. I said, "Is that your car right there?" He said, "Yeah, that's mine. It's a Porsche." I said, "That's my FJ right there." He said, "Yeah, I saw you park when you came in. I saw you pull in." And then he says, "I'm a doctor." I said, "Oh, for real? Wow. I save lives." And that's all for real. He said, "Well, what do you do?"
Did he really say it like that? Holy shit.
I shit you not. He said, "I'm a doctor. I save lives." And then, you know, and then he has this persona like, you know, I'm fucking the light of the world, right? And then so I thought, "So what do you do?" I said, "For real? Well, I'm an educator. I change lives."
Yeah, exactly.
And then he looks at me and he says, "Oh," and he puts his hand out so I can shake. I'm like, "Yo, okay. Yeah. Let me get my drink and fuck you. Have a nice day." You know. So Ro and I, we got our drinks. I get my cookie, and then we roll out. We roll out. But it's like that's basically what I do. I'm glad that people do not refer to me as an English teacher. Oh my God. I'm so glad that people don't call me an English teacher. They think I'm other things, but they never ever approach me at first glance as an English teacher. They think I'm an artist. They think I'm a bodyguard. They think I'm an athlete, but they never refer to me as an English teacher. And I love that because you know what? I am an educator, yes, but I am a father first. I'm a father who teaches. I'm a coach who teaches. I'm a leader who teaches, but I am not a teacher.
Right.
See, and that's my whole approach to everything that I've done. That's why I'm still here. I fucking came out here a year. I came out here to learn the language. I told everybody back home, I'm gonna learn how to speak Japanese in 1 year, and I'm gonna come back fluent. That's what I thought. You know, just submerge yourself into the culture, into the language. Oh man, there's so much that you don't see.
Right. So I suppose, I suppose in a sense, what I was going to say to kind of touch on that point of that story you were telling is, yeah, like I think the last thing for people to do if they ever think about coming out here and they really are thinking about the real Japan versus what they see on the internet is they don't want to, like, you're going to be an English teacher, like almost 7 to 8 times out of 10 you're going to start as an English teacher as the only job. Because that maybe 9 times out of 10. Well, but because the only reason I'm saying that is because I've noticed actually in my time living in Kyushu, most of the foreigners that I was actually running into, they weren't American and they weren't British, so they were actually doing other things, and it generally had to do a lot to do around software or engineering. And I was like, God damn, good for them, basically. But then a year later, they had to move to Germany. So what I was going to say though is, you can't come out here with this idea of I'm going to be an English teacher forever, because it is a very transitional type of job unless you can harness something more, create your own school, create something more out of it. You know, for me, English teaching is fine. I don't mind doing it. I like doing it, but for me, it never feels like English teaching, especially now, because when I used to teach children, there was a better gratification out of that. Now teaching like scientists and I'm teaching scientists and models and TV producers now. And so it's a different sort of approach now, and I have to treat it as like more like a radio show. When I sit down and I do these man-to-man things, it's not something that I can fully say that I want to retire. You know, I don't want to be 50-something years old. I don't think I can be 50 years old sitting down doing a 40-minute man-to-man thing. But at this moment in time, it's a means to the ends, and it helps supply a good schedule for me to spend time within YouTube and build that channel. So for me, my final goal is having YouTube or some sort of internet sort of personality be a susceptible way where I can live anywhere in the world, actually.
You know what, to be honest with you, and I've told you this many, many times before, I can see you doing that. I see you doing it. You know, I see you doing that. And that, for me, I mean, my hat goes off to you, you know, because a lot of people can't do that. Like, they try, you know, but they can't.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, and that's the real Japan. On top of that is like, we see all these internet things about like Japan is supposed to be the future. And oh my God, when I first came here, I thought that everybody was already going to be into touch screens and smartphones. When I first came out here only 5 years ago, even smartphones were actually not fully adaptable yet. People were still using the flip phones where the little TV came out and they had to pull out the antenna and such. People were still using those on the trains, and people are very technology. I don't want to say biased, but they shy away from technology, especially in places like Fukuoka. And so when I was starting YouTube and doing that, nobody actually got it, and I got kind of teased about it when I was recording all the time, because it was just looked at as a very geeky, otaku, nerd type of thing to do. But, I kind of had to forgive their ignorance, because they didn't realize that I was actually making money off of it, and they didn't realize that it could actually be a susceptible job to do that. So,
and see,
but yeah, go ahead.
Come from different places, different generations altogether.
Yeah.
When I came out here, there was no internet.
Yeah.
We had to research shit old school, and that pisses me off about this young generation right now. They actually think that YouTube is research. Read a book, man. Go to the library. You know.
We got books. We got ebooks now. We got ebooks.
I mean, it's not the same thing, man. Everything is just so fucking convenient. Young people don't know how to research shit anymore, and they fucking ride the coattails of other people's experiences, and they look at the glamour, but they don't look at the reality, and they allow themselves to be conceived. They just allow themselves to run into walls left and right, and they don't have the ability to stand up and look for another way out. And that's why they will never ever survive in this type of environment.
Yeah. Well, for me, I guess real Japan, when I think about what people see on the internet, because I used to be a tour guide as well for Japan, so I used to get this a lot. And like I said, what your experience, the life you're living, I understand, because I used to live that life for a short minute, a long minute, for 4 years. I was in there where I had to ride a bike every day to go to the bus station, and then take the bus to go to the train station. I had no car, and then when I woke up, I was surrounded by tea leaves, and there wasn't my nearest neighbor was like 15 minutes walking down the block and everything.
Oh, we're talking about geography.
No. Well, yeah, just giving the environment, the environment like that. Like, this is for me, like when you watch those, like, I think for people.
No, bro, I got Starbucks right up the street, dude.
No, congratulations.
Everything's like,
oh my God. We only had, at the time, I remember when I first moved out there, and it was like they just opened up a McDonald's, and that was like a big thing. But what the point I'm kind of saying is, like, I think a better idea of real Japan for people to imagine is, like, you watch them, like, I'll make it easy for them. They watch a Miyazaki movie, they watch a Miyazaki movie, or like some of those documentaries. That's kind of the idea, the majority. I'm going to say the majority of what Japan is really like, which is more countryside. The same as America, where you're going to have these major cities like Los Angeles, New York, but the majority...
But everywhere.
The majority of America is yeehaw, or like, crops and fields, and it's the heartland, basically. And so, but to counter all that, because I live both sides of this, I'm going to bring up a point you mentioned, is like, and I didn't feel this really until I started living in the country, was the soul of the Japanese soul is always putting someone else before yourself, being selfless. And that was something that I never really saw until I really lived, or experienced until I really lived in Japan, and especially lived in Kyushu, is the idea of, like, Japanese people will always, generally speaking, think of the other person before themselves. And that has its pros and cons, but overall, I think for me, that's kind of the real Japan, like the feeling, like, yes, there are subcultures, and the subcultures is what makes things really popular on the internet, because let's face it, the reality, realistic life is not interesting to talk about on the internet, like, but the subculture stuff is entertaining because it's unique, and that goes for every culture, but yeah, there are subcultures, but to feel that kind of like Japan's spirit, I think for me, that's what real Japan is all about. And that's something that you can't adapt, you can't bring to any other country.
Yeah. And it's like, I think when you first come out here, I think we tend to compare too much.
Yeah.
Because we're deceived by what everything looks like. Like I said, I mean, you got Starbucks right up the street. I mean, I don't have tea leaves. I don't have tea leaves around my neighborhood. I got Starbucks up the street. I got Mickey D's over here. We got Kentucky over there. So
I got a Tuli's down the street now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I got 7-Eleven like here, and there, right? So it's like I'm not that type of. I don't live in that type of an area where I got tea leaves and we got mountains up the street as well. I got a river 10 minutes away, but you know,
Right.
this is what Japan is to me, and I love it here. Okay,
Right.
it's like when you come out here, I think we are so used to our lives before we got here. We bring too much of that here, you know, and we become deceived by the way people look. I mean, you see American cars, you see people that are wearing jeans, they're dyeing their hair brown and blonde, and it's like
red.
Yeah, I mean, that's you though, right? But it's like they have this love for Western culture that is here, and they specify we have to learn how to speak English. We have to learn how to speak English. And now, next year, they're going to start English programs for elementary school students from 3rd grade, you know? So it's like, you think that because if you graduate university, you got fucking 10, 12 years of English study, you know how to speak English, but they don't, you know? And so we come out here and we think that everyone is just like us. Everyone, they think exactly like us. We go to the supermarket. If you want to buy a steak, I want to go get a T-bone steak. There's a supermarket. They will have a T-bone steak. No, you're wrong. You get the little bitty ass piece of meat that's going to cost you $10. Okay, and it's not even good. You know, it's not even good. It's fucking $10.
It's considered a delicacy, though. Yeah, god damn.
And when we come out here, we tend to compare too much. We bring too much of who we were there. Here, and we can't do that. You know,
we always, I mean, we all went through it. Some longer than others. Some never changed, like Ryan Ballas. But you go through that situation.
I don't care where he goes. He's probably going to be the same wherever
he'll be comparing and miserable his entire life. But yeah, there is a comparison, and until you let that go, you'll never truly be able to adapt. And
you'll never be able to experience the Japanese experience.
Yeah, I think so. I think you know.
Let me check. Let me just put the pause button right here.
Okay.
When I left Kumamoto, and I'm talking like 24 years ago, right? I was walking down the street. And I was in my own lane, so to speak. And there was this other guy on the other side, and he came and we bumped into each other. We stopped, and I thought that I was at fault. I thought it was my fault. You know, I look at where I'm walking. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I was over too much into the middle, and I bumped into this dude. He almost falls down. I grabbed him. I said, oh man, sumimasen, I'm sorry. Sumimasen, gomenne. And then you know what? He looks at me. You know what he does? He starts to apologize.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that just freaked me out right now. I was waiting for him to say, oh no, it's all right, man. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's all good. No, he says, yeah, gomennasai, sumimasen ne. So we're sitting there, we're fucking apologizing about the same thing. I'm wrong, he's wrong, everything is good.
Right.
You know, I'm wrong, he's wrong, everything is good. And right there and then I was like, you wouldn't get this in LA.
Nah, not at all.
Where you going? Hey, you got eyes, man. What's up? Did you bump into me on purpose? What's up? You know, so it's been like that. But here it was like, I apologized, he apologized, and everything was good, you know. And then I was like,
that happened
for me at that point.
It is, no, it's absolutely, and you know, especially here now in my new location back in Tokyo, the big city. That just happened to me last week because both of us were not really looking where we were going and such. And then it just happens every once in a while where you're just like, you're walking and we both go to the same direction and we're still like, we can't avoid each other. And so we both bumped into each other and we're like, sorry. And they're like, yeah, it's cool. Another time that happened and both of us just started to dancing on the street. So yeah, there's a little more what's the word? English teacher, please.
It's momegoto ga kirai. So it means they hate confrontation.
Yeah, there you go.
Avoid it. Just apologize. You know, just apologize. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. And now that just summed up a lot for me, and that changed a lot in me. You know, it's like I can't be the person that I was before I got here. I can't start to compare what things were like back then.
Right.
a steak like this will only cost like blah blah blah. I can't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you know, the sad part is I still do that. Like, I'm like, God damn it. Yeah. But no, I will say that I have done less of that now in terms of comparing prices and just have accepted it to what it is. And now it's more or less like comparing the prices of food of Tokyo to the prices of what I used to pay in Fukuoka. Like, now that's what I'm going through right now. And then I guess the last point that I'll touch upon is the fact that we've been touching upon the country life and the Inaka life, living the more suburb or Silicon Valley area, but there is a real Japan in the city life. Me living here, back 20 minutes away from Shibuya, I deal with the trains every day. I deal with all the people every day. But even there, you know, I don't want people to get it twisted. Like, you see things on the internet all the time, but there's still a different type of Japan when you actually live here, and that for the city area. And what that really just comes down to is just people are fucking busy. Like, people are busy. They got to get to their next spot. There's tourists. You're always going to run into tourists, and I run into tourists, and just like me and every other person that lives in Tokyo, you know what we do? We just kind of, our sensors go up, we avoid them and move to the side and let them take their photos and things like that. So, you know,
I love Tokyo, I do, but for 48 hours, that's it. And it's like, now that we have Roman, I think it's a lot easier for us to visit Tokyo.
Yeah.
And you know, Minako, she always says the same thing before we get off the plane. She says, "Hey, no fighting." That's the first thing she says before we deboard. Hey, no fighting. Come out here. Don't come out here and fight. I'm like, hey, no, I'm not. Before we had Roma, I used to slap people all the time.
God.
But it's like, but Tokyo for me is Outback. Tokyo for me is Hooters. Tokyo for me are these places that we don't have down here in the South. You know, right. So I'll go to Tokyo. I'll eat sushi. I'll eat steaks. I'll have ribs. I'll have pork and beans and these things, and then I'll come back. But see, Tokyo for me is not my Japan. That's your Japan, but it's not my Japan. I don't recognize that as the Japan that I know and love. And you know, it's one time I was in Tokyo on the train, and I think that you understand this as well. A lot of people who are there aren't actually from Tokyo,
right?
The parts of Japan. And we were on the train, Roman and we were on the train, and he says to me in Kumamoto dialect, he says, "Daddy, imakara doku ikuto?" He says, "Where are we going now?" I said, "We're gonna go to Ginza, we're gonna go shopping, and then we're gonna have some sushi." And we're saying this all in Japanese, but because we speak Kumamoto dialect, we don't even think about it, but that's how we speak it. So we're speaking Kumamoto dialect to each other, and there's this old woman who's sitting on the train, and she says, "Excuse me, are you from Kumamoto?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, we are." And she says, "Natsukashi na."
This now brings back good memories. Natsukashi.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? I was like, you know what? She and I, we sat there and we had a conversation. All of this is Japanese, of course. She doesn't speak English. She's speaking me in Japanese. And so we're talking to each other, and she was telling me where she's from. She's from Amakusa. You've been to Amakusa before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it's like, and it's a beautiful area. It's near the ocean. It's really, really nice, right?
Yes.
Quiet place. And so she was telling me how nostalgic it is to hear the Kumamoto dialect. And I said, I wish her a good day, and I was glad that we were able to talk. And I told her, I said, thank you for allowing me to speak Kumamoto Ben with you, opposed to just speaking with my son, because, you know, and everybody's watching us on the train. Wow. Everybody's looking at us, and it's like, wow. It was so touching for me to find somebody from my part of Japan here in Tokyo on the train. And we had a nice conversation. She and I had a really, really nice, pleasant conversation. And I felt a profound proudness of being from where I am. Not Los Angeles, but from
It's funny because you mentioned that, because I run into that same situation not daily, but every week or so, with the students that I teach now, as I mentioned before, a lot of them are scientists or producers, or a few of them, the models. I always have to give my introduction, and then I start talking about the fact that I lived in Fukuoka, and for them, for the most part, that is, just like you said, that's basically where I'm from. Since I spent the majority of my time, of the 5 years, I spent 4 of them in Fukuoka. I'm basically kind of considered more from Fukuoka, and so a lot of those.
Always be proud of that, bro. Always be proud of that.
I am, because it's great, like you said, Natsukashi feeling, this nostalgic feeling, and I can talk to my students about things that nobody else can. And when I first started this job, I had little to no students, but it was that kind of stuff that made me a little more unique, more than I already am. And those students wanted to continue to come back, because during the holidays, they're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna go back to Kumamoto. I'm like, dude, make sure you can you get some of the tonkotsu ramen for me, or something like there's special things like that. And you know, that is it. People like Japanese people like something called gapu. What would you say? How would you say that in English? Like gapu? You know what I'm talking about?
It's English.
Okay, so people like where
different.
You have
We're talking about the gap, G-A-P.
Yeah, gap, like personality gap.
Gap.
Like you look a certain way, but then you have something that's not the stereotype, basically.
Yeah.
Like
it's the difference between the two. Looking different.
It's something more. I think it's more like there's more. I guess more than. I said more than meets the eye in my lesson the other day, but basically, like, you're like a transformer, so to speak. Like, you look a certain way, but you're completely different than that. And, like, people would never guess, but people like that. And that actually goes really far for people out here. For example, Dante Carver, which he's the SoftBank, the brother being promoted through SoftBank. Good friend of mine. Yeah. He actually came through. He's actually from Kyoto. He spent a lot of time in Kyoto, so his Japanese is actually Kyoto-ben.
Okay.
So when he speaks, people are just like, God damn. Like, he has this very mystique, polite way to his Japanese, and that's that gapu that makes him very unique. So, real Japan, virtual Japan, I believe there's kind of a hybrid of both, and it's really what you make for yourself, basically, when you come out here. So just like any sort of subculture, just like in Japan, they believe like all Americans have guns and there's violence everywhere, and you can have drug parties in your house and shit. You can't believe everything you see on the internet, basically. Any final thoughts on that, Tino?
Oh yeah, definitely. First of all, I want to touch on something that you did.
Okay.
Something that I always wanted to say this before, but you left the comfort of your job that you had in Fukuoka.
Yep.
Was from what I saw, it was pretty nice. Regular. Okay, you work for a company, you have a job, you got income coming in, you got your YouTube thing. You picked up stakes and you moved to Tokyo, and it's like you took everything that you had, what you could carry, you moved to Tokyo and started over again. And I'm like, in my mind, it was like, damn. When I was 5 years in, I would have never thought about that. I would have never ever thought about doing something like that. But then again, I didn't start out in Tokyo like you did.
Right.
So that's you going back to your origin. That's where you began. That's where you became Akasan. That's where you started out. See, but I think if I were in Tokyo and then vice versa, if I were to move back to Kumamoto, basically it would be the same thing. But you know what? For me, I am always cautious about making moves without a safety net. But then again, you're single as well, so it's like I think you and I, we have this different mindset about doing things. I mean, you're not carrying any baggage, any responsibility but yourself. And, and it's easy for you to make that move. And I have to applaud you, man. I have to applaud you because a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that. You know, that is something that a lot of people would not be able to do. Just get up and go to Tokyo and do something like that.
No visa. Yeah, my visa was expiring. I had no job, no place to live. It was, crazy.
I was like, damn, that's something that a lot of people couldn't do. And I applaud you for being there and doing what you want to do, because see, that's where you wanted to be. You know what, psychologically, I think you were always there. I don't think you ever left.
No, and we've talked about this before in our conversations before. Like, I was always wanting to go back. I was ready to go back to Tokyo 2 years into Fukuoka, but I tried to just stick it out and I tried to do it with a safety net, but sometimes you can't. It just doesn't work like that, especially with English teaching and the amount you get paid. Some of these companies will just pay you just enough to live, but not enough to save. So, you know.
But it's like, you've been here for 5 years. I see you being here for another couple of years, and your whole mindset, your whole goal in life is to be independent. You know, I really can't see you working for someone for a very long time.
Not at all.
I see you doing your own thing, being independent, just doing your own thing, and that's basically, like I said, I'm here for 25 years. I don't work for people, you know, because I have my own thing. Just so people understand that. I've been here for 25 years and I don't work for people. I have my own thing, you know, and this is something that I've created for myself. And I see a lot of myself in you when I was at 5 years, you know, and it's like, everything that I did was for tomorrow, you know. Where I'm going to be tomorrow is very important to me, you know, and you have to be accountable for everything that you do. And I see you doing that, you know. If I make it, it's because of me. If I fail, it's because of me. And I'm good with that. And that is the attitude that you need to survive anywhere. That's not even a Japan thing. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with where you're at. If you don't have that mentality, you know, Ryan, he doesn't have that. Ryan is going to bitch and moan. He's going to work for somebody. He's going to go work for another company. He's going to bitch and moan, and he's going to be like that for this fucking miserable life. But I don't see you doing that. I don't see you being that type of a person. And I have to applaud you because I don't see a lot of dudes doing that. I don't. I see a lot of Americans come out here. They come out there. They should do something for a minute. They don't. They end up working for somebody for the rest of their life. And I'm like, why? You know, why? You know, hold yourself higher than that. Make something out of your life.
And accountable. Yeah.
Yeah, and be accountable for what you do. And that's why a lot of people, they don't excel at this teaching thing because they aren't accountable. You know, they get paid for an hour to be there. They don't care if these people learn or not. They don't care. You know, but if you're not accountable, you're not going to be a good educator. You're not. And if you just don't have that, don't even come. Don't even come.
Yeah. You got to be strong about it. You got to be strong. Yeah.
But good, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I could feel. Yeah, and you know, for those years I've spent in Fukuoka, I enjoyed them. But also internally, I always felt like there was something missing about me. There was something missing, and when the channel got even bigger, I felt like there was a part of me that was missing. And there were people out here. Because of the YouTube Tokyo studio, I felt that there were people out here that I could vibe with a lot more, and that could feel the same interest that I have for being creative and such. And so that's why I knew now was the time to come back. Because like you said, if I had stayed any longer, people were telling me to wait, save up more money, but I knew that wasn't going to be the case because, like I said, they pay you enough to live, but not really enough to save. And you know, next year is going to become 2 years from now, and it's just going to be this pipe dream after a while. So it was just better to jump without a rope, and hopefully I don't fall. So now I'm climbing to the top right now.
Yeah. There you go. That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it.
Thank you. Cool, man. So when you come out here, let's hook up. You know, we got a Taco Bell now. We got Taco Bell. in Tokyo.
I'm sorry, dude. That is not Mexican food to me. Forget that.
Okay. I got another Mexican. I got an look. My guest house. I don't even know what you call it. Dorm mate, I guess. She's Mexican. She told me a great place to go. We'll have to check that out, man.
Right on, man. April. I'll be out there in April.
All right, man. LA all day, and I'll see you in 2 months then. 3 months then. Cool. Thank you, Tino.
Okay. Thanks a lot, bro. I'll talk to you later. Peace.
Goddamn.